Formula One is often described as the playground of the rich, that's only accessible by virtue of wealthy relatives and hefty financial backing. And that's one reason why we've seen the prevalence of paid drivers in the sport. Paid drivers are not new in Formula One, and over the past few years there has been an uptick in the proportion of paid drivers competing on the F1 grid. So let's take a look at the scary rise of paid drivers in F1. Now, before we go any further, give this video a thumbs up and subscribe to this channel so you don't miss any of our amazing videos. Thanks for doing that. Now let's get started. Now, the idea behind paid drivers is that companies will provide young drivers with millions of dollars in sponsorship, effectively making the drivers available to teams who are in need of financial backing. The drivers are virtually always up-and-coming stars from lower divisions who are competing for a chance to race in Formula One. Companies go after this strategy of sponsoring drivers so that they can put their advertisements on the car and, if possible, in the name of the team. Additionally, the money brought to the racing team by the company will help the team develop their car and be more competitive, benefiting both parties. However, the increased commonality of the paid drivers in the modern era of F1 and how it is what concerns people the most. The main concern of fans is that the return of paid drivers will limit the chances of a star talent failing to break into Formula One because he doesn't have the budget to match his skill. The most famous recent example is Lance Stroll, whose multi-billionaire father, Lawrence, reportedly spent $80 million simply to secure him a place at Williams in 2018. Lance Stroll and Sergei Sorokin were the two drivers that competed for Williams during that season. The announcement made headlines all around the world, mostly because it was speculated that former driver Robert Kubica would make a triumphant comeback to the sport after suffering a devastating injury in 2011. So, why did Williams pass up an opportunity to challenge for a podium spot at the very least by siding with Stroll and Sorokin instead of Kubica's experience and proven appeal? Well, the funding, of course. The combination of Lance Stroll, who reputedly brings in $25 million annually for the club, and Sergei Sorokin, who had the support of a highly prominent Russian investor, made the pair a suitable choice for Williams in order to keep the cash registers ticking. Kubica, on the other hand, was forced to settle as a test driver for the team. When Force India slipped into financial trouble in 2018, Stroll's father invested in the team. He finally bought the team in 2020 and rebranded it, first to Racing Point and then to Aston Martin. There was never any doubt Stroll would be holding his seat when the Racing Point Aston Martin transition happened, despite Sergio Perez proving himself as the better driver during the 2020 season. After all, the team's executive chairman was never going to sack his son. That's not to suggest that Stroll is not a skilled driver in any way. He won the Formula 3 title the year before he entered F1, though as mentioned he had serious advantages. He earned a podium in his rookie season in 2017 and two more in 2020. But has he ever been the most talented driver on his team? The answer is no. In the 2020 season, he finished 11th in the Drivers' Championship, with his teammate Perez finishing 4th overall, behind only Lewis Hamilton, Valtteri Bottas and Max Verstappen. In 2021, he finished 13th, despite having far more experience in that particular car than his new colleague Sebastian Vettel, who finished one position ahead of Stroll. Stroll finished this season in 15th place, which was still below his teammate Sebastian Vettel's performance. If he has been poor over the years, then why is he still on the team? Because of the financial support that he can provide for the squad. In the year 2020, the Formula One series welcomed a new paid driver named Nicholas Latifi. The Canadian driver had a respectable junior career and finished in second place behind Nick De Vries in the 2019 Formula 2 Championship. Thus, his promotion to the F1 ranks was not an entirely unjustified decision. A teammate is the truest barometer of a driver's speed, and Latifi has been comprehensively outpaced by all of his teammates in Formula 1. However, being outperformed by De Vries, who only found out he was driving 90 minutes before the final practice at the Italian Grand Prix, was highly embarrassing and likely hastened Williams' decision to terminate his contract. Latifi is a nice, polite guy, but clearly not cut out for the pinnacle of the sport. The 2021 season saw another paid driver brought into the F1 scene in the form of Russia's Nikita Mazepin. Mazepin brought three things with him to Haas: a junior career that was solid but not particularly remarkable, concerns regarding his off-track behavior, including a video of him inappropriately grabbing a lady and a physical assault of an F3 competitor in 2016, and significant financial support. It's not a coincidence that the Haas team, which was formerly coloured black and red, rebranded itself with the red, white and blue colours of the Russian flag. Their title sponsor, Uralkali, is a Russian chemical company that would seem to have no reason to advertise itself to the world, except Mazepin's billionaire dad Dmitry is a majority shareholder. Mazepin's results were exceptionally dismal, earning him the nickname Mazespin for his almost weekly difficulties on the track. Only once in Azerbaijan did he finish outside of the bottom 4 positions. As a direct consequence of Russia's invasion of Ukraine, the Mazepins were promptly kicked out of the competition. Dmitry Mazepin has a close relationship with Vladimir Putin. Guanyu Zhou, another paid driver, joined Alfa Romeo in 2022, displacing Antonio Giovinazzi. The comment given by Giovinazzi encapsulated everything perfectly. He tweeted, "F1 is emotion, talent, cars, risk and speed, but when money rules, it can be ruthless." While Alfa Romeo team principal Fred Vasseur denied Zhou has $48 million in backing behind him, it's clear he has financial support to go along with his talent. Zhou finished his 3rd season in Formula 2 in 2nd place, behind the rookie from Australia, Oscar Piastri. This was an improvement from his 7th and 6th place performances in the feeder series in 2019 and 2020 respectively. Piastri and Zhou are both members of the Alpine Academy. Based on Piastri's performances in 2021 alone, he merited it. Nevertheless, he didn't have the same level of financial support that Zhou enjoys. Piastri served as a reserve driver for Alpine during the 2022 season before signing a contract with McLaren for the 2023 campaign. Now, there have been success stories of paid drivers though. Sergio Perez, now at Red Bull on merit, was something of a paid driver when he joined the grid in 2011 due to support from Mexican companies. Michael Schumacher had money to thank for his F1 debut, with Mercedes paying Jordan some $205,000 to run him at the Belgian Grand Prix in 1991, while the legendary Niki Lauda paid his way into the sport in the early 70s before winning 3 world titles. But those are just few rare cases. Most paid drivers haven't ended well in F1. The paid driver problem relates to a much bigger monetary issue in the sport of F1 and isn't going away anytime soon. At the end of the day, just like any other kind of business, racing is focused on making money. When compared to the larger and wealthier teams such as Ferrari, Mercedes, and even Red Bull Racing, smaller teams need a significant amount of funding in order to support the superior design of cars. This will allow them to compete with the high standards set by the more prominent and wealthier teams. They're forced to match up monetarily due to the competitive nature of the Formula 1 world, or else they run the risk of falling horribly behind in the championship, or even worse, they run the risk of going bankrupt. Therefore, when racing teams are presented with the option of selecting an up-and-coming racer who has already demonstrated his ability at lower levels of competition, such as Formula 3, GP3, GP2, etc., or one who is standing in the corner with bags of cash, the teams choose the latter option because they require the money to continue competing. The system appears to be extremely unfair to young drivers who are interested in making a name for themselves on a significant platform but are unable to compete with the best, merely due to the fact that they're unable to match their contemporaries economically. So, what's your thoughts about the rise of paid drivers in Formula 1? Let us know in the comment section below. That's all for today's video. Thanks for staying tuned. Please don't forget to hit the subscribe button and notification bell so that you can always get to watch more amazing videos like this. We at 5 Second Penalty have got you covered on the latest topics. See you in the next video.